School is back in full swing, and while academics are always super important, so are the friends you meet along the way.
Absolutely. Without a doubt, I think we can all think of that one friend that was your go-to person in your childhood.
And having them not only made school more fun, but it's also supportive when you need it.
Yeah, but for some kids, it's really hard to make meaningful relationships and friendships. So Dr. Laura Saunders from the Institute of Living is here to tell us what we can do to help our kids make friends this school year. So, hey, Doc, how are you? Happy Wednesday.
Hello, friends, and happy Wednesday.
So this is not an easy subject to talk about. I mean, we want our kids to go into school and we want them to make friends and be socially accepted, but sometimes that's not so easy.
Yeah, why is it so hard for some kids?
Right. So the underlying skill is what we call social skills, right? That's really the art of communication and reciprocity and acknowledging and identifying what someone else's emotions are and responding to them, right? There's actually a whole set of skills that are underneath this. I am that person that says all the time, I think social skills and the ability to get along with other people is equally as important as academics. And it is a skill that is really critical to learn in elementary school. The reality is not all children have this skill. In fact, I think there's a good subset of children that have significant deficits in their ability to communicate and to socialize in a way that creates a meaningful connection.
So has COVID made things worse?
I definitely think COVID it had a negative impact, because if you think about the beginning of this school year, right? So the beginning of this school year is for the most part what we'd consider a typical year, but this is the first one in, 2 or 3 years. So if you're a young child, if you're a child under 12 or 13, 2 or 3 years out of the course of your life is a huge chunk. So the disruptions that happened in wearing masks, right? Wearing masks causes you not to be able to read someone's facial expressions or to have to over-exaggerate yourself to communicate what you're trying to get across. And kids don't necessarily do that. So I think that COVID has, and the barriers that we needed to be safe really did create some worsening of these deficits.
And it can be a bigger issue if you have a child with ADHD or certainly a child on the spectrum. For those kids, the emotional dysregulation or the noise in their head, sometimes it's even harder for them. So they might be a little delayed. That's something parents need to understand. They might be a little behind their peers.
Yes, any child that has what I call vulnerabilities, they have significant learning issues, maybe they have communication issues, or they have social skills deficits. They have significant ADHD. Kids with ADHD don't stop and take the time to read what someone else's cues are, and they just sort of act impulsively, sometimes, with anger. So inattentive kids may be too impulsive and flighty to really know how to enter a conversation or to wait for someone else to finish talking before they start talking. So kids with any vulnerabilities often have particular issues in their social skill development.
We only have about a minute, but as a parent, what do? Do you go in and say, be friends with my kid?
Well, I think you start with practicing some scripts at home, do some practice. So let's pretend I'm another kid at school, and let's pretend, right? So to give your child some scripts, it can help to set up a play date where this child is actually really good with social skills. You worry that your child's not, and sort of set it up and say, when Johnny comes over, ask him to play with your Legos and then ask him to play Xbox, right? So to kind of give some helpful hints as a way to start that ball rolling.
Yeah, okay, so give your kids some pointers, and modeling it at home is always a good way. But thank you. Thank you so much. And we're going to talk about this more on Kara's Cures coming up. I know we'll get into that question of should parents intervene. That's always a hard part when someone's being mean to your kid. Do you get involved?
Do you get involved?
Yeah.
Thanks, Doctor.
I look forward to it. Take care.
Thanks.
Right.
You can always listen to the full conversations on the Kara's Cures podcast, whatever platforms. You can go and listen to Dr. Saunders and others.
It's a really good topic.